I'm not from Connecticut. All right. Well, this is my first time getting up on stage. Rules as I understand them are you have to laugh at everything I say. Works every time. I'm going to tell you guys a story tonight. It's about how I've always sort of wanted to be funny. Ever since I was like a little kid. I remember watching my family as they would like crack each other up in the living room. And I wanted to be a part of that crowd, so I went to my sister, because she had the in. She's my older sister. She was about 10 at the time, and she was always more obstinate than me. So she would, my mother would come to me and say, "Rum, did you brush your teeth?" And I would say no. She'd send me out to brush my teeth, and she'd come to my sister and say, "Liren, did you brush your teeth?" And she'd say, "Why?" And my mom would be flabbergasted. She comes back and say, "Well, it's important for young children to brush their teeth. It prevents against gingivitis and makes the parents happy." And my sister would say, "Why are you so invested in my teeth?" And my mother would say, "I made your teeth." And my sister would come back and say, "One could make the argument that I made my teeth, not you, Mother." While you're thinking about that, let me pose this to you. How do you know my teeth are even dirty? How do you know my teeth exist? How do you know anything exists? Is life meaningless? Is there a God? My sister read too much philosophy when she was young. And she would confuse my mother with this philosophy. So my mother, being flabbergasted, would just stand there like a robot while my sister would just sidestep her and go to bed. Brushing her teeth. Meanwhile, I'm the chump who brushed his teeth. I didn't even think that was a possibility. I don't think, therefore I'm not. So anyway, my sister tells me about knock-knock jokes. And it's exactly what I needed. I would be a comedian by nightfall. So, later that night, I go to the venue, and I know everybody there. I'm able to carry a conversation because it's my parents' living room. And I step up on stage, and I find it difficult to stay upright. And for two reasons, mainly. One, I'm young and nervous. It's my first time doing anything, really. And two, it's a sofa. And I tell my first ever joke. Would you guys like to hear it? Yeah, it requires a fair amount of audience participation, so fair warning. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Tree! No, that's it. The reaction was a bit different than that one. I was bombing hard. So I tell a couple more jokes. Knock, knock, car. Knock, knock, tree, an oldie, but a goodie. And I go back to the drawing board. I draw a picture of a cat, a house, and I get back to my career in comedy. Later that night, after dinner, I'm searching the house for inspiration. I wander into the bathroom, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a trash can. Inspiration strikes. If the intellectual and observational comedy I gave them earlier that afternoon couldn't get them, maybe it was time for physical comedy. Act 2 starts. The living room, or the dining room in my family's house is a small one. There's a small dining room, table here, the wall goes off to the living room back there, there's a kitchen in the corner, and then there's a hallway that goes back to the bedrooms and the bathroom. My family is sitting down at the dining room table, and they hear some of you can see where this is going. What happened was, in the bathroom, I emptied out the trash can, placed it on my head, and ran, nay, sprinted, at the dining room wall. I hit my target, perfect performance, and I'm a little dazed, so I'm slumped down, okay? And I turn around, and I slowly lift my comedy helmet. And they weren't even watching. I was a failure. Again. I was distraught. Thank you for laughing at my pain. So I walk off, and meanwhile, I didn't know it, but my family were losing their minds. They were biting their lips and turning away because they just saw their 5-year-old run face first into the wall with a trash can on his head on purpose. Talk about dinner theater. But they knew how much I wanted to be funny. They knew how important it was to me. And if I had done that, if I kept doing that, I would just be one of the Jackass members. Pun intended. And so they held back, but I was furious. I had just come from the drawing board. I drew an angry cat in a sad house. And I came back and I'm bawling my eyes out. And I talked to my mom and I said, "Why didn't you laugh?" If there are any comedians in the audience, I'm giving you a wonderful tool here. She comes back and says, "Do you want us to fake laugh?" And I say, "No. I may be a budding comedian, but I have standards." She says something that stuck with me for a while. She says, "Sweetie, we'll laugh when it's funny." Thank you guys.